For years, Amazon has been quietly building an empire on the backs of its workers, pushing them past exhaustion and leaving behind a trail of injuries and deaths that most people never hear about.
This is your experience, and I'm going to share
This is our experience.
Amazon does not care about the safety of its workers, our health, or our lives.
The truth is, Amazon now ranks among the most dangerous workplaces in America. And yet, for the longest time, nobody outside those warehouse walls has really known the scale of the suffering.
Raw sewage, broken ventilation choking us from wildfire smoke.
Our department was turned into a hernia factory.
It is statistically safer to be a firefighter in a fire than it is to be an Amazon warehouse worker in a warehouse.
But that silence is breaking. Employees are coming forward with disturbing stories, risking everything to expose what they say are inhumane and sometimes deadly working conditions.
The Amazon warehouse, at least 6 workers there are dead.
While Bezos sits on $242 billion, warehouse workers can't afford surgeries for their Amazon-induced injuries.
The only thing standing in the way of change is people listening. For many, working at an Amazon warehouse isn't a dream job. It's a quick fix.
I need the money, that's why I'm here.
But what if we told you this supposed short-term solution can have lifelong or even life-ending consequences? As any social media post will tell you, the work in these warehouses isn't easy.
Currently my first day working at Amazon. I'm gonna talk to y'all when I go on my next break, but I just want to see how this factory job working is, you know? Just trying to see what it's about. Well, when I signed up for this, I did not know they meant it was gonna be like this. I think I'm finna take a nap.
Amazon does not care about the safety of its workers, our health, or our lives.
And I work like a dog, day and night, living off of coffee from a pot none of you want to touch!
One TikToker user posted a series of AI videos to recreate the day in the life of an average Amazon worker. But what these videos exposed was a toxic work environment where employees were constantly being pushed to their limits.
If you've got time to sit, you've got time to work.
And punished.
You're getting a write-up.
By a company that valued profit over people.
Listen up. It's peak season. That means mandatory 12-hour shifts starting this week. No exceptions.
Here we don't care about your mental or physical health, only your rate. If you've got a problem, go to HR, but guess what? They won't help you either.
While this isn't real-life footage, in the comments, Amazon workers claimed these AI-generated reenactments were disturbingly accurate. Some even suggested lines they received at work for future videos. Like, "You glanced at your phone, that's a write-up." Another user commented, "Bro, I've been told everything in this video just like this. Can't even go back to Amazon. They run through people as if their goal is to get rid of workers." One of these workers Amazon allegedly ran through was TikTok user Zach King Morris, who claimed he was fired for recording a video in the workplace. However, before he was let go, he captured just how draining repeating the same task over and over again for 10 hours a day can be, especially when you're working at the speed management supposedly expects its employees to be able to work at safely. Yes, warehouse workers have claimed that Amazon expects them to accomplish the impossible, and once they achieve that, the company demands more. See, Amazon expects employees to meet strict quotas, or in warehouse lingo, make rate. These rates, however, are not just allegedly kept hidden from the workers, but constantly changing.
Because once you hit rate, by the end of the week, they bump it up again.
With numbers varying from warehouse to warehouse, and even hour to hour, workers can be pushed to scan anywhere from 250 to over 400 items per hour, and they allegedly only known they've fallen behind rate when they're written up by management, or worse, fired. Adding to the pressure, workers have reported they're under 24/7 surveillance through security cameras and scanners that allow higher-ups to document whenever they're idle, even just for a few minutes.
They know when we're active and when we're not.
And track their progress.
And they have a little blue line at the bottom of the screen, and it has like how many seconds that you have to have it done by the time it hits 0. And it puts you into panic mode.
It's not just short-term employees who are calling the company out. According to Nathan, an Amazon warehouse employee who claimed he had been working at the company for over 3 years, there were perks that came with the job.
Free peak hoodies, free headphones, free snacks whenever it's Snack Attack Day, $1.50 raise, and free Prime membership.
These benefits, however, didn't outweigh the constant pressure the company put workers under.
And all of that is somehow fair to doing hard labor, lifting boxes up and putting them down, getting hurt and injured on the job, and most of all, getting treated like we're robots, expecting us to hit a certain rate which customers don't even care to see?
As one Amazon worker told the BBC, the company wants every minute in that building to be maximized. This has led to an environment where even bathroom breaks are timed to keep productivity high.
You only have 7 minutes to go to the bathroom. And the bathroom is a 3-minute walk there and back. What the fuck do they want me to do? Run.
And Amazon's obsession with productivity doesn't just drain workers.
At Amazon, you are on your feet, walking all the time and climbing stairs to get to your station and move products.
It allegedly endangers them. See, in order to keep up with management's increasing demands, workers have reported having to skip bathroom breaks, urinate in water bottles, and even break safety rules. This includes jumping rather than pulling out the stepladder to reach products, bending over to grab boxes instead of squatting, and lifting heavy items by themselves instead of waiting for help. This, they claimed, was the only way to work at the speed Amazon wanted. Their dedication, however, was not reciprocated by the company that allegedly had no issues replacing them as soon as their bodies broke down.
Amazon's $2.39 trillion market value was built on breaking workers' bodies. While Bezos sits on $242 billion, warehouse workers can't afford surgeries for their Amazon-induced injuries.
In December 2024, a Senate committee investigation accused Amazon of manipulating its data on workplace injuries to make its warehouse appear safe, despite injury rates being significantly higher than the industry average. But how much significantly higher are we talking? Well, according to the report, over the past 7 years, Amazon workers were almost 2 times more likely to be injured on the job compared to other warehouse workers in the sector, a figure that's left the public horrified.
Not having your employees work to the point of injury is like one of the most basic things you can ask for as a human being.
TikToker Attorney Ryan, an employment attorney and former firefighter, provided more disturbing context.
It is statistically safer to be a firefighter in a fire than it is to be an Amazon warehouse worker in a warehouse. When we look at the number of injuries per 100 workers, it is statistically safer to do this than it is to do this.
In fact, workplace injuries are so common in Amazon warehouses that they've become something of a running joke on social media.
I broke my back.
What do you mean by that?
My back is broken.
What, a vertebrae or what portion?
Spinal.
But when tragedy strikes, it's no laughing matter. In 2020, Amazon employee Bobby Gosnover noticed that a conveyor belt had malfunctioned at his warehouse, and items were piling up on the ground. Immediately, he stepped in to pick up the items, a cleanup effort that lasted for 4.5 hours.
My pain started in the middle of my right side of my back because we were twisting, moving, down stacking, up stacking totes at a rapid pace.
Eventually, Bobby told his manager that he was in pain and probably needed medical attention.
He's telling me that it's going to take lots of paperwork. He's like, you think you can go take some Advil and put some ice on it and come back?
Bobby followed his manager's advice, and the next morning, he woke up in excruciating pain. It turned out, Bobby had a herniated disc in his back that required surgery. His time at Amazon was officially through, and while he received permanent partial disability for being injured on the job, it was a small consolation for a lifetime of pain.
I have to live with this injury for the rest of my life.
This is the same story told by many Amazon employees who were injured on the job.
Doing dishes hurts. Preparing my food hurts. And so I don't even know how I'm going to survive financially.
Yes. All it takes is one moment of workers pushing themselves too hard, and they can be left with anything from permanent spinal damage to shoulders and back injuries.
Every day I'm in pain. Every day. I was supposed to be on modified duty, but they couldn't accommodate me. So they wound up making me resign. I applied for workers' comp. It was denied. You're literally, it's like a slave, literally. Because they expect you to be a robot, and you literally can't be a robot.
For a lot of warehouse workers, that's where the story ends. They're left to deal with the pain and the bills on their own. But they shouldn't be the one paying the price for an injury their workplace caused. That's why so many people turn to today's sponsor for this video, Morgan & Morgan, the largest injury law firm in America. With 1,000 plus attorneys and offices across all 50 states, They've been fighting for the people for over 35 years. And their results speak louder than any headline. In Florida, an insurer offered $350,000, but Morgan & Morgan got their client $12 million. In Pennsylvania, a $650,000 offer turned into $26 million. And another Florida client received $20 million when their last offer was literally zero. And they've recovered more than $25 billion for over 500,000 clients. So, if you're injured because someone else was careless, and that includes incidents involving dangerous trends, you deserve to be compensated. And choosing the wrong law firm can cost you. So you can check out Morgan & Morgan by scanning the QR code or clicking the link in the description. Their fee is free unless they win. But what if we told you these workplace injuries were mild compared to what others have faced? After all, not everyone makes it out of Amazon alive. Yes, an unsettling string of deaths have occurred at these facilities all over the world. Just listen to what happened to one temporary worker back in 2013. Ronald Smith was working at a distribution warehouse in New Jersey when he died in a horrific accident. Ronald was fulfilling Amazon packages when the conveyor belt jammed. According to a wrongful death lawsuit filed by his family against Amazon and the machine's manufacturers, Ronald attempted to clear the conveyor belt, and in the process, his arm got caught in a gap that was less than 6 inches wide. Ronald was then pulled through the conveyor belt before falling 16 to 18 feet towards the concrete below. His family blamed the grueling tasks Amazon forced upon its workers for his passing. And the alleged stress Amazon workers are under doesn't just endanger their own lives, but the lives of anyone who unknowingly comes between them and their productivity. Like warehouse workers, Amazon drivers are put under immense pressure to meet the company's rising expectations. Most importantly, its one-day shipping policy. According to workers, this is only achieved by cutting corners, whether it's getting behind the wheel when you shouldn't.
The reason why I want to speak out is because I myself was placed in a position to drive when I shouldn't have. I only had one eye that was operating, and they still put me behind the wheel.
Or disregarding safety protocol.
People are busting their driving way over the speed limit. People are running through stop signs, running through yellow lights. Everybody I knew was buckling their seatbelt behind their backs because the time it took just to buckle your seatbelt, unbuckle your seatbelt every time was enough time to get you behind schedule.
Also, like warehouse workers, Amazon drivers are constantly being watched.
That little guy is how we are tracked.
As this TikToker explains, Amazon vehicles are equipped with AI surveillance that records when you miss a stop sign, if you're buckled, and if you're speeding. But are these features really about keeping drivers safe?
If I want to sip up my coffee, I have to pull over so that I can grab it and drink it. Because if I do it while I'm driving, then that's a driver distracted, which is also a violation. I can't touch the center console, or else that is a driver distracted violation.
While some viewers accused Amazon of micromanagement and overstepping, one user had a theory. It's not for safety. It's to make sure if anything goes wrong and someone sues the company, they want to know every detail of what happened. After all, this had happened before. In 2016, an Amazon driver struck and unalived an 84-year-old grandmother in Chicago, leading to a lawsuit from her family that blamed Amazon for the pressure it puts on its drivers to deliver items on time. In 2022, a 2-year-old was unalived by an Amazon driver.
When we asked Amazon to accept responsibility for a clearly negligent driver, they said it is not our responsibility.
Then, in November 2024, another grandmother passed away, this time by a driver who not only fled the scene, but continued to deliver packages. These are only a few of the deaths over the years involving Amazon delivery drivers. In fact, another fatality occurred as recently as August 2025, when an Amazon driver, who was seemingly too rushed to wait to cross the street, died.
He didn't wait for a truck and flatbed trailer to pass by before walking into the road.
Despite the disturbing number of these cases, Amazon has repeatedly refused to take the blame. But was Amazon truly innocent, or was the company simply good at covering its tracks? To answer that question, we have to go back to September 24th, 2017. It was on this day at an Amazon workhouse in Plainfield, Indiana, that the unimaginable happened. A 59-year-old worker, Philip Lee Terry, was doing maintenance on a forklift when the forks collapsed, bringing the platform down on top of him. It took workers 2 hours to find Philip, and by the time 911 was called,
there's an emergency in the maintenance area.
Sorry, Amazon?
Is he conscious and breathing?
Philip wasn't. The worker had been crushed to death. An investigation by the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, better known as OSHA, discovered that the stand used to hold the forklift up and prevent such tragedies was never used. During his investigation, OSHA Inspector John Stallone interviewed an employee who told him the company provided no training or safety. Instead, it was a get-her-done mentality. More disturbingly, the training records that Amazon provided showed no record of forklift training at all. In the end, OSHA found that Amazon was at fault and gave the company 4 citations, amounting to $28,000 in fines, chump change for the trillion-dollar empire. But then, why did Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb later overturn the citations? OSHA Inspector John Stallone claimed that he first heard about reducing the fines during a conference call with Amazon's lawyers and his boss. As for how they planned to do that, well, it involved shifting the blame from the company to the employee who tragically lost his life. Sensing something shady was happening, John Stallone secretly taped the conversation with his boss that followed the call.
I hope you don't take it personally if we have to manipulate your citations any. Or...
I think they should all. I think they're all pretty. I think all 4 of them are pretty strong on their own.
Despite the toxicology report that showed there were no illegal substances in the worker's system, the OSHA director proceeded to speculate.
I'm guessing the guy was probably on something.
But when John pushed for penalties, he claimed he was the one who was pushed. State officials allegedly pulled him into a meeting and told him to back off, bringing up that Amazon might bring its second headquarters to Indiana. John said he quit. The state, which argued the meeting never took place, said he was fired. In the end, the citations were dropped after Amazon supposedly proved that the worker had been trained, and his own misconduct caused his death. But if this was an effort by the state to secure Amazon's second headquarters, it failed. Indiana lost its bid. Meanwhile, Amazon escaped facing any consequences.
You are gambling with people's lives every day. And that doesn't seem like you should get a pass.
But it's not just freak accidents that are killing Amazon workers. In many cases, workers seem to simply drop dead. Some of these tragedies included the death of 61-year-old Mike Galash in 2018, who passed away from cardiac arrest at a fulfillment center in Tennessee, while his workers desperately tried to find a cell phone, which weren't allowed in the building, to call 911. Then, there was the fatal heart attack of 60-year-old Joe Bowman in March 2019, where 911 call records revealed that the manager who reported the incident ordered a concerned employee to go back to work while on the phone with the dispatcher. And sure, this response from management might seem cold and detached, but nothing was as frosty as what occurred at an Amazon facility in Ontario, Canada on January 15, 2024. It was a cold winter night, -25 degrees Celsius to be precise, when a fire in the warehouse forced workers into a mandatory evacuation. According to Amazon officials, employees stood in the cold for about 17 minutes before they were let back inside. However, in an interview with the London Free Press, an employee who asked not to be identified claimed they were outside longer than that. The anonymous worker also claimed that when they tried to warm up in their car, a supervisor ordered them back outside. And while an Amazon spokesperson denied workers weren't allowed in their cars and claimed the company provided kits that contained a knit cap, socks, knit gloves, a mylar blanket, and hand warmers, the anonymous employee claimed another worker who was warming up in their car after the cold exposure triggered a nosebleed was also told to get out of their vehicle. As for the kits, the employee acknowledged that blankets were handed out, there just weren't enough for all of the workers. Yes, not everyone was built for a cold Canadian winter, including 50-year-old Paulo de Souza Bezerra, who originally was from Brazil, where climate is far warmer. So the moment the doors to the warehouse opened back up, Paulo and the other workers went to the break room to warm up.
And this particular employee spends about 45 minutes warming up with other employees, but then collapses near a water cooler by his workstation for reasons that are not yet known.
It turned out Paulo had suffered a heart attack, which exposure to cold weather is known to increase the risk of. He was sent to the hospital, where doctors were ultimately unable to resurrect him. But as tragic as Paulo's death was, some workers don't even make it to the hospital. It was December 27th, 2023. Just days before New Year's Eve, Rick Jacobs was finishing the night shift at an Amazon fulfillment center in Colorado. But before he could clock out, tragedy struck. At 5 a.m., he had a heart attack and collapsed on the floor of the facility. passing away at the same company he dedicated his life to. Yet, it was the way the company allegedly chose to handle the incident that was truly chilling. Rather than holding off on starting the morning shift until the coroner arrived to remove the body, plant managers allegedly used cardboard boxes to block Rick's body from employees who were forced to work just feet away. For many, this choice showcased just how twisted Amazon's priorities were.
What they care about is their profits and enriching their shareholders. So that's why they continued to work. That's why they forced their employees to work alongside their dead colleague who's still on the ground at the facility, just a little bit removed by a couple of cardboard boxes.
Amazon denied that cardboard boxes were used, instead claiming that managers and security guarded the body. Yet, despite the company's suggestion that the situation was handled appropriately, employees begged to differ. No one should be told to work alongside a dead body, particularly after witnessing it, one worker told The Guardian. Day shift comes in at 7 a.m. or 7:30 a.m., and we were never informed until we arrived to where it had occurred. No warnings before walking into the building, no on-site counselor. Simply a flyer put out days later informing us of how to receive mental health counseling. Another employee told the publication they were pissed that Amazon operated business as usual in the midst of a tragedy. Why is it that we are still working as usual when someone is deceased downstairs? I was angry that they think that our lives don't matter, that they're going to sweep me out of the way to get a package out. And this wasn't the only time Amazon allegedly forced staff to continue their shifts next to their unalived coworker. In a Reddit post from March, one user claimed that a worker who had been complaining about chest pains and the extreme heat in their facility died of a heart attack in the middle of his shift. According to the post, management told those who tried to help the employee to go back to work. They then proceeded to leave him lying on the floor and put those wet floor signs around his body, and just expected us to work around him until medics got there. Whispers today from PAs confirmed to us that he passed at the hospital. But why were there so many Amazon workers dying of heart attacks in the first place? Well, it turns out, the chronic mental and physical stress Amazon workers are under isn't just bad for their mental health, it's bad for their hearts. Specifically, these factors have been linked to cardiovascular disease, making it no wonder that heart attacks have become a troubling trend in Amazon warehouses. In fact, workplace heart attacks are seemingly so common at Amazon that there are multiple Reddit posts about employees dying this way on the job. For example, a Reddit user posted about a woman falling at work. A commenter then clarified that the woman hadn't just fallen, she had passed away from a heart attack. Another user responded, "Horrible way to die, taking your last breaths inside an Amazon warehouse. We live and die in an absolute hellscape." In a Reddit post from October 2024, one worker claimed that a woman at their factory was sent back to work despite complaining that she was not feeling good and having pain. They went on to claim that, when she got back to her area, she had the heart attack, and the new hires that were with her tried to help, but a manager told them that they couldn't help her since it was a liability to the company since safety wasn't on site. One of the new hires told that manager that they were CPR trained, and they quit so they could help the woman that had the heart attack, but the manager physically removed the CPR trained new hire from the area. While the manager's alleged behavior during the emergency shocked the public,
whoever the manager is, you are bugging. At least let her coworkers help her.
This wouldn't be the first time Amazon was accused of resisting life-saving measures. On January 18, 2013, temporary Amazon worker, 28-year-old Jeff Lockhart Jr., was working the night shift at the Amazon Fulfillment Center in Chesterfield, Virginia, where he suddenly collapsed. He was found less than an hour later on the third floor by an employee whose immediate response wasn't to call 911, but AmCare, Amazon's personal medical team. As it turns out at the time, Amazon's employee brochure explicitly stated, "In the event of a medical emergency, contact security. Do not call 911. After the AmCare employee performed CPR and used a defibrillator, 911 was called, but it wasn't enough to save Jeff's life. His cause of death was listed as an irregular heartbeat. As for why it was Amazon's protocol to not call 911 immediately, well, maybe this was the company's twisted way of avoiding negative PR. In 2023, an article from Tribune magazine interviewed Amazon workers who claimed that the company instructed them not to call 999, the number for emergency services in the UK, and instead find their own way to the hospital. According to a worker named Maria, the company started doing it after there was something in the papers about Amazon calling too many ambulances at their sites. But the company's alleged over-reliance on their in-house medical team has had tragic consequences.
Yo, did y'all know that Amazon has on-site first aid clinics that are actually there to keep Amazon workers from getting real medical treatment and sweep injuries under the rug?
Yes. Just as Amazon has earned a reputation for ignoring the needs of workers, so has AmCare.
They're very quick to downplay injuries and, give you an ice pack, tell you to sit down for 10 minutes and go back to work.
And this isn't just online gossip. In a Wired expose from 2023, AmCare employees described a system that can put employees at risk of further injury by keeping them working instead of referring them to appropriate medical care. Unfortunately for Amazon worker Billy Foister, he learned this lesson the hard way. In 2019, Billy approached AmCare about health concerns he was having, including headaches and chest pains. The medical team took the 48-year-old's blood pressure and blamed his symptoms on dehydration, giving him 2 drinks and sending him back to work. A week later, Billy suffered a heart attack at work. Despite being a large man at 6'3", it took 20 minutes for someone to notice him lying on the ground. And while CPR was administered, it wasn't enough to save Billy's life. But it's not just the grueling work that's allegedly hazardous. It's the conditions of these warehouses. Amazon workers have reported being forced to work through gas leaks, despite being dizzy and vomiting. They braved the spread of COVID-19 in these facilities.
This is the 4th known case of an Amazon worker that has died of the virus. Amazon has declined to provide total nationwide numbers.
And still, working conditions have reportedly not improved.
Raw sewage, broken ventilation choking us from wildfire smoke.
But it's only when disaster strikes that the deadliness of Amazon warehouses is truly exposed. During an extreme heat wave in the summer of 2022, several Amazon warehouse workers took their last breath.
3 Amazon workers all died while on the job at 3 separate New Jersey facilities in the last few weeks.
For many, it was no coincidence that these tragedies began during Prime Week, an annual sale that's notorious for pushing workers to extremes.
For the 4th and final week, you guys are going to be working 8 10-hour shifts.
What? 80 hours? How is that even possible?
Well, you're obviously going to have to work 2 shifts in one day, buddy, okay? It's not that hard.
But yet again, OSHA issued no citations for these deaths. But what was even more peculiar was that OSHA never made its inspection reports for these incidents public, a lack of transparency that led safety advocates to sue the agency in November 2024, after it failed to respond to a public records request. But while the death of 3 workers in 3 weeks might have made Amazon look guilty, what about the death of 6 workers in a single night? Let's go back to December 10th, 2021. It was the holiday season, the busiest time of the year for Amazon workers, and management at a facility in central Illinois wasn't going to let a little stormy weather get in the way of productivity, even if said stormy weather was a full-blown tornado. Yep, despite warnings from meteorologists for 3 days leading up to the tornado, Amazon was operating business as usual that night. Radio's been going off. One delivery driver texted their supervisor. "Okay, just keep delivering," the supervisor responded. "We can't just call people back for a warning unless Amazon tells us to." Even when tornado alarms started going off, the driver's supervisor told her to just shelter in place. "That's waiting to turn this van into my casket," the driver shot back, but her supervisor remained firm. The safest practice is to stay exactly where you are. If you decide to return with your packages, it will be viewed as you refusing your route, which will ultimately end with you not having a job come tomorrow morning. The sirens are just a warning. Meanwhile, at the warehouse, some workers wanted to take shelter at home. One of these workers was Larry Verdon, who texted his girlfriend, "Amazon won't let us leave." But why didn't workers feel safe at the warehouse? Well, while Amazon representatives have claimed that its safety procedures went as smoothly as possible that night,
there were announcements in the building, and then our leadership team were going around the building and moving people in as well.
According to the workers who were there, it was chaos.
Everybody yelling, people are confused. We knew some people were missing. It was just terrifying.
Employees said they'd never done drills for tornadoes. And while some knew the shelter was the bathroom, the problem was there were 2 bathrooms, and some employees went to the wrong one on the southern side of the building. At roughly 8:28 p.m., an EF3 tornado with wind speeds of 150 miles per hour hit the 1.1 million square foot facility, bringing down the roof and the walls. 6 employees who were sheltering on the southern side of the building were killed, including Larry, who had texted his girlfriend that Amazon wouldn't let them leave. Miraculously, delivery driver Craig Jost, who was also sheltering in the south side bathroom, survived. He was trapped under a 40-foot-tall concrete wall for hours before rescue crews were able to dig him out, with thoughts of seeing his wife and his family again, keeping him alive.
Being able to even just talk to, but let alone hug and
kiss the people that I love was amazing.
As for the families who lost their loved ones in the disaster, they were devastated.
I walked out of that building after they told me my dad was gone. I dropped to my knees and I screamed at the sky at the top of my lungs.
And it wasn't long before the families and the surviving workers began to question whether all of this could have been prevented if Amazon valued its workers as much as it valued profit.
That reality kicked in that my life is more important than a huge company, because clearly our lives weren't valued at all that night.
The company was hit with multiple lawsuits, including wrongful death lawsuits from victims' families and a claim for emotional distress and injuries filed by survivors. It was during this time that Amazon was accused of not building the warehouse to code after inspection reports during the rebuild found that the supporting columns of the building appeared to be unbolted and unanchored. But while these lawsuits insisted that Amazon failed to protect its workforce,
there's no evidence whatsoever that this building had an appropriate basement shelter or storm shelter.
OSHA determined that the warehouse met building code requirements, and despite offering recommendations for Amazon to improve safety procedures, no fines were issued. But if OSHA won't fight for Amazon workers' rights, workers have proven they have no problem fighting for their own.
We work really hard day in, day out, and we are not robots. We are human beings. We need rest, and we need those breaks.
We work to live. We deserve to live, laugh, and love, and have a full, fulfilling life.
Being such a big company, you guys don't care for us. We're just number to you guys. You guys don't care for us like you guys say. I don't see it. I don't see it.
Although Amazon's stance on unions is made clear by this video the company uses to teach managers about employees' rights.
We do not believe unions are in the best interest of our customers, our shareholders, or most importantly, our associates.
In North America, warehouses have begun unionizing, including facilities in Staten Island, Quebec, and most recently, British Columbia.
We want to start talking to the employees about what they want to see in a collective agreement, and we want to get on with getting them what they really need, which is some justice in their workplace.
Of course, change has always come with setbacks. In January, Amazon announced that it was shutting down all of its Quebec warehouses in what many saw as an act of retaliation.
We did unionize one facility, and we were working very hard to form unions in other facilities, and Amazon is really anti-union.
Yet while unionizing remains an uphill battle, for many Amazon employees, it's the first step towards a better, and more importantly, safer working environment for all. While you're here, check out our other video on a trend sweeping through social media and leaving users in hospital beds. And consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. Your support means a lot to us and helps us continue to create videos like these.